Okay. Well, I will get started. I am Brittany Gregory, and I am the co-founder of Branded by CB. It is an e-boutique, and we curate clothing for women of all sizes, especially catering to Black and Brown women. So I was listening to the keynote, and I think we have a lot in common with them. But I guess we can move on to the next slide. So once again, I think just being here at the session and listening to other Black women, other Black entrepreneurs, I think it's very valuable to hear other people's stories. I hope that I can provide some nuggets or some influence or encouragement to all of you who are watching today and listening to me. I make up Branded by CB with another co-founder of mine, Chanel. She couldn't be here today, but I'll be walking you through how we started Branded by CB, why we started it, discussing the gaps that we saw in the fashion industry, and how we kind of use this as a creative outlet with our fashion, love for fashion, and turning that into something bigger. So we can go on to the next slide. So this is a little bit backwards. Usually I would start giving you some background about me, but that'll be in the next slide. But basically, Chanel and I are best friends and business partners. I think, like I said, hearing from our keynote speakers, partnership was so important for us. We both bring, we both bring something different and complement each other with our skills when it comes to the business. But we're line sisters, so we met in college, and Branded by CB was born out of frustration. Similar to what we heard earlier this morning, we needed a creative outlet. We both work 9-to-5 jobs, and I'll tell you a little bit more about each of us in the next slides. But we had all of this creative energy that we just wanted to get out and do something that has purpose and that catered to the Black women community. So we were frustrated with the options that were provided to women with curves, seeing no diversity with models, no diversity with selection of styles. I am a very tall woman. I'm 5'11", and I have curves. And Chanel is short and petite. She is 5'3". So I have trouble finding clothing in Nordstrom. So definitely couldn't find anything in boutiques where they have those unique pieces. So we wanted to bring that diversity and inclusivity into the fashion industry. Right now, we carry extra small through 3X. And I'll talk a little bit about our journey with finding that selection. But our goal is to have selection for tall women, for petite women, and a larger selection for curvy women. So that's just a little bit about how we got started. And now I'll talk a little bit about me personally and my background. So we can go to the next slide. Something personal. I am recently engaged and I'm expecting a son in January. So if you hear me get out of a little bit, short of breath, that's the reason why. I have my water with me, but I definitely am feeling it now. But yeah, my baby boy comes in January. I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and I have a background in human resources, human services. I have my bachelor's in human services from ODU in Virginia and a master of science in, sorry, this got, can't see my slide. Okay. How do I make my slide bigger? Oh, okay. Never mind. I am sorry, I got distracted. A human capital and associate manager for Central Federal Services in the DC area here. So my job is not exactly the most creative. I deal with federal clients and it's cool. But like I said, I needed that creative outlet. And with the business, I handle all things marketing, social media management. I built our website. I built our social media presence basically from zero. And I do a lot with customer relationships and, overall business operations. So customer service is definitely something that was important to Chanel and I to make sure that we were providing, there's a lot of, I would say, businesses out there that if you want to support them, but it's so hard because the customer service is just so terrible. We definitely didn't want to be one of those businesses. So that's really important to me and what I take under my wing to make sure every customer gets what they want and that they're shopping with confidence every time. We can talk a little bit more about that in the next slide, or I'll talk about Chanel and then we'll talk about our journey. So we can move on. Like I said, Chanel couldn't be here today, but she is my other half to Branded by CB, and she is extremely busy. She just had her daughter. So she is a mother and a wife. She currently lives in Miami, but she's relocating back to the DC area. Like I said, we met in college. We went to the same school in Norfolk, and she is a pharmaceutical sales representative. She's actually quitting her 9-to-5 soon and has several franchises. So I don't know how many people here are in the DC area, but she owns 3 or 4 tropical smoothie cafes in this area. And she's opening a Hand and Stone massage and facial very soon. That great opening, I think, is next week. So that's why she couldn't be here. She does those franchises with her mom and her sister in the Maryland area. So like I said, super busy, but she has, several streams of income. So, Branded by CB is on the way of helping out with me having that, several streams of income so that I can also quit my consulting position. But right now it's just Chanel that would be full-time with Branded by CB and her other franchises. So she handles all things sales. She has a lot of big ideas. So she handles all of our vendor relationships, our finances, and takes a lot of her experience that she's had with franchises into Branded by CB. So we can go to the next slide now that you know a little bit about us. Excuse me. So I'll talk a little bit about our journey. First of all, like I said, this event is just, it's great to see that, we're still doing this not only in a pandemic, but we're taking the time out of our Saturday to empower other women, to share our stories, and to, make something that seemed so far away seem closer. Because I think listening to the keynote today, a lot of the similarities I heard in their stories, I've experienced with Branded by CB, just because there's a lot of times where we didn't have the knowledge. We had no background in fashion. But I think, things and events like this help you to know you can just get started. And I think that that's what was most important for us. We launched in 2018 and we just literally started. We had no background in fashion. We knew nothing about the boutique industry. And I think what was, most challenging was not knowing what vendor to use or what vendors were out there to curate our selection of clothing, especially since we wanted to cater to women with curves. We wanted to give people those, stylish options, but still make sure we were catering to the Black woman. So I think a lot of what helped us to just get out there and start was knowing that there's so many other women out there doing the same thing we're doing. Because I know there's a lot of boutiques on Instagram. I know you've probably seen a lot of them, but we knew we had something different to give to this space. So within our journey, we've made countless mistakes, of course, wasted a lot of money on photo shoots and thinking that everything needed to look flawless and perfect with our first try. We hired a photographer for our first photo shoot of the clothing and got models and paid for like this big shoot. And it really wasn't necessary because now if you look at our Instagram page, all of those pictures are of Chanel. Her husband takes them. I take pictures of her. So one of the lessons learned, I would definitely say, is to understand that everything doesn't have to be perfect for you to start. We had 0 followers on Instagram. We didn't even have personal Instagrams at the time. So we had no presence. And I think what's big with Instagram boutiques or boutiques online, period, is the fact that, these people usually had some type of following or some, big influence in their personal lives to bring attention to their business and to help jumpstart it. We didn't have that. We spent so much money flying to LA to find the right vendors. And I think that definitely, we used all of our own money personally. We got a credit card and just, spent money and just didn't have a plan. So I think a turning point in our business was definitely creating that business plan, writing down actual goals to see every month, and sewing into our business to be consistent. I think what has gotten us to 15,000 followers on Instagram is being consistent with our business and wanting to sew into it and striving to, be consistent with marketing and just being consistent to it being successful. So another bump in the road was starting our own clothing designs. So I will say just jump into it and start. But I will say with starting our own clothing designs, we trusted people who we thought had our best interests, and they really didn't. So once again, spent so much money starting our own designs because we were a little frustrated with the vendors because technically you're still, relying on other companies. Like you're going through all of these vendors in the LA fashion district, in the New York fashion district. You're looking through all of the clothes that someone else created and you're curating them for your business and, selecting pieces that you think are perfect for, your audience. So we're like, you know what, forget this. We're going to strictly create our own designs. And that was probably one of the biggest mistakes that we made throughout our journey because we didn't have the right team to help us understand patterns, to help us understand the time frame that it takes to create just one blazer. It definitely took a turn, and we weren't as consistent with it because we were frustrated and we wanted to give up. And then we decided to switch back to curating items from vendors from our trusted relationships that we created in LA and in New York. And that's kind of where we are today. So we can go on to the next slide. So, like I said, we started from 0 followers, 0 in revenue, 0 email subscribers, to now having 15,000 followers on Instagram. Facebook isn't the best for, the fashion industry and, Facebook shopping, depending on your audience. And, we learned our audience is around my age or younger. So like in between 18 and 35. But over 800 likes on Facebook, and we're creating or developing our email subscriber list every day. And we've increased our sales by 270% since 2019, which was the year that we decided to just go all in and create these designs. So shameless plug, we created a course that is not currently live, but I think a lot of the challenges that we've experienced with our journey, it just was from lack of knowledge, and the fashion industry tries to be very secretive so that all of these boutiques don't have the same access to the really good vendors that have really great quality clothing and really great customer service. So, you can take that flight out there and try to get the perfect vendor in LA, but there's just steps that you have to take and things that you would want to know when starting to build and create your own site. We used Shopify. So that was also a big part of some of our challenges, just understanding that platform and creating our own website and seeing our sales kind of dip and increase and dip again. So we did create a course for women like me and you, who are looking to have a creative outlet and think, fashion or, an e-commerce business period would be something that you could change your passion into purpose. And so it's definitely catered more to fashion, but there's some gems in there that could definitely be for any industry as far as e-commerce. So if we go to the next slide, I can talk a little bit about that course. So we talk about, opening an online boutique and understanding, what's your vision, what's your mission statement, what's your purpose behind it, what's your niche going to be, what's your business plan and how to set up your business and where to start. We'll talk about finances. Like I said, I learned so much about social media, just even understanding when the best time to post and, learning about Instagram reels and stories. Shopify setup, that's kind of my realm, helping to create websites and making your site, equipped for easy sales and easy access to your products. Branding your boutique with marketing. I think Chanel is definitely, really good in that area, just with her experience with other businesses. Building your social media and your email list. I think social media and email has definitely been our number 1 and 2, driving forces behind our revenue. Understanding Instagram and Facebook ads, that's been, something we're still learning, but we've learned a lot along the way after spending more money than we had to. And then those pro tips. So overall, just providing you with the knowledge, tools, a vendor list to help you get jump started on some of our recommended vendors that we use in LA and New York, and just overall building your confidence in wanting to jump out there and just start. And I think that's what we heard from our keynote, and I can definitely testify to that with my partnership with Chanel, just having the confidence to just get out there and start all together. So that is something that's coming soon. In our website, it's at the top. There's a menu section, and it has a link to go straight to an email where you can put your email in, and we'll reach out to people who are interested in the course when it will start. So that's coming soon, probably not until next year. But yes, shameless plug, wanted to share that with everyone. And we can go on to the next slide. I wanted to leave time at the end. I don't really know how many people are in this session, but I wanted to leave time for questions, if there are any questions. And I can definitely keep talking if we want to talk about any more of my journey. But yeah, any questions at all? And I will take this time to get some water. I'm talking so much. So we do have a question. Since some boutiques have the same vendors, how do you differentiate yourself? So I will say that is a big thing. I think within the industry and within, LA Fashion District, which is the most famous place to get all of your clothing, people definitely use the same vendors, and the same items are, popular amongst, I was going to name a couple of people, but there are a few women out there who are doing amazing and are very successful in their boutiques. So there are those pieces that you would see in a bigger boutique. And, we differentiate, I think, with not only customer service, but with our pictures and with, how we present our selections. I think a lot of boutiques, I always, and I still stand behind me saying to just start, but I think there's a level of professionalism that should go behind your business, and, making your customer feel comfortable to just buy from you, especially on Instagram, if they found you that way. Some people find us through ads or word of mouth or email, but if, someone is coming to buy something from you and they have no idea who you are, making sure that you have a chat system connected to your website so that you could talk to them directly. I think people trust our business because we're there being personable and making sure they're completely confident to shop with us, and showing that we're real people on Instagram and all the other places that we advertise. Even in our pictures, we tried to use models at one point, and those pictures did terrible on Instagram, and they did terrible on any other platform that we tried to advertise on. I think showing that we're real girls, we have curves, we have, areas where we wish we could, fix or work on, showing that these are real girls in this clothing, and this is what we look like, buy from us. I think that's where we differentiate, and not, I think there's a lot of women who may have the same item, but they're dressing it up with Chanel bags and designer everything else to, make it look so much better. And I think it does look very cute. If you add designer with anything, you can definitely elevate your look. But I think just showing real girls who have real bodies definitely differentiate us between other boutiques that use the same vendors or items that we have. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we have another question. What's been the most memorable project that you worked on thus far in your company? I think it's the most memorable and most challenging project. It's definitely been creating our own designs. We look at other up and coming designers who have years and years of experience. And we thought, you know what, we can jump in and do this. And like I mentioned, it was definitely a roller coaster ride, just understanding patterns and, taking your idea and turning it into a sketch and explaining it to someone else to put together, because we don't sew, we don't, have any background in fashion. So I think it was memorable because we did something that we thought was important and something that the fashion industry needed to see. Making sure our clothing, snatched us in the right ways, helped women to feel empowered and confident in the clothing that they wore. But it was definitely a journey, just understanding the process. And I think we could have done a lot more research before jumping into it. So I think it was memorable because it was challenging, but it was also memorable because it was something that we were able to, say we did, and we're gonna, try again. We have a different team that we want to work with this time that can help us through it a little bit more and walk us through the process. But we want to, make sure that we are providing a product that we're proud of. And I think overall, we were proud of what we created, but it didn't hit the mark. So I think it was a memorable project just because it was challenging, but we still went out there and did it. We had a wonderful photo shoot and had clothing that we were, presenting to the world. We just have a lot of lessons learned from it, for sure. Would you ever consider opening a store in the DMV? Maybe after the pandemic? Yeah, so we definitely want to stay away from brick and mortar. There's a lot of risks associated with it, but I think in this pandemic, we want to, make sure that this is something that can be profitable in a creative outlet that can also help us to create another stream of income. I think the easiest way to do that is through e-commerce. I think it's the future. I think a lot of things are pivoting to e-shopping and e-commerce, period. So we definitely want to stay in this industry. We do pop-up shops. So there's ways that we can, be out there and meet people face to face. But I think, platforms like Shopify help you to create a experience for your customer that's just as memorable as going into a store and touching and feeling the clothing. We try to do videos and IG lives to explain what the clothing looks and feels like before you're able to purchase from us. And we also provide free shipping and returns. So definitely e-commerce for sure. And how do I envision making time for my husband, new baby, and running the business? That's a great question, just because I think Chanel and I are both in the same boat. We both are, well, I'm engaged, but Chanel's married. Her baby's here already, and my baby's on the way. To be honest with you, motherhood is something I've never experienced. I am aunt and cousin, but, I think, watching Chanel's journey of becoming a mother, she's made it work for her. I think it works differently for every, family out there, but I think I'm always going to make time for this business. It's a part of something that makes me happy. It's that creative outlet that I need, and my passion that I'm trying to turn into a different income stream so that I can be home with my baby all the time. I do work for a company that has great maternity leave, but definitely I have a fiance that is super supportive of everything that I do. So he's very helpful in that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a change in, how I will balance my business with, a new baby and being a wife. I think not stressing myself out completely, burning out in any area, that will probably, happen once or twice, but I want to make sure that I stay balanced in giving everything the adequate amount of energy that it needs. So we'll see. Are there any new winter pieces I'm excited about? Yes. So I think a item that does the best, and something that we're excited about, is our outerwear pieces. Chanel, when she moved to Miami, of course, none of the outerwear that we do can be shot down there because it's so hot. And when she does her pictures, it's like she is, burning up trying to take the pictures. But I think outerwear does the best for us. So jackets and winter cardigans, or just jackets, period. They do great. I think it's a statement piece that, can dress up leggings and a top. So we have a lot of cool outerwear coming up. I think that, will do well. And that's something that the girls come to us to shop for. So dresses and outerwear definitely do the best in our store. There was a blazer that I loved but sold out before I could buy. Do you ever bring back designs? Absolutely. So we bring back anything that sells out immediately, or anything that that sells out quickly. There seems to be a lag sometimes when we release new items, and then, if the lag is too long between, people actually buying the piece and getting more from our vendor, if it's sold out, it's sold out. But we do try to do pre-orders, and, really gauge how quickly the item is going. And that will kind of gauge, when we should buy more, and, kind of go with our inventory in that way. I think it has been a little challenging in that way, though. Just, it's like, this piece is in demand, but we can no longer provide it because our vendor's out of it. So I think that was the big reason why, we switched to creating our own designs. But yes, we do bring back items that, are showing that they're profitable and that they are, something that girls want. But that black and white plaid dress that you're talking about will not be coming back, unfortunately. That one is completely sold out, and we actually don't even deal with that vendor anymore. Music and fashion go hand in hand. What's on my playlist? I am an R&B type girl. So when Jasmine Sullivan came out with her new song, I was just so excited. I love her. I love soulful music. I love live music. So this pandemic has definitely hurt in that area. But I think music and fashion definitely go hand in hand. We haven't had a fashion show, but I think that definitely music brings out something in people, just like fashion statements bring things out of people and make them more creative. So that's what I'm listening to. But great question. Another great question. Do we connect with influencers? Yes. So we have had great experiences and terrible experiences with Instagram influencers. Overall, we've kind of slowed down with using them. Excuse me. We slowed down with using the influencers because there are, some influencers who do extremely well with advertising your pieces. Their followers really trust their judgment on businesses and want to look just like them. So, we have used influencers in the past, but now we kind of let our sales come and go a little bit more organically. I think we have our go-tos, people that we've had great experiences with and built relationships with. I think that that's the most important. You making that relationship personal with the influencer, explaining to them what you're about. And, they're, someone that would be your ambassador whenever you want them to influence for you. But some people kind of take advantage of it. They'll, some of the influencers that we do have good relationships with are usually free to partner as long as the clothing is free, that we let them, keep the clothing. But some people take advantage. They'll charge $500-$600 to influence on your behalf, and then they'll delete the picture after a day, or it's tricky, and it's hard to trust certain people. You don't know how that relationship will go. So we kind of stick with our day ones, people who've been with us when we only had 1,000 followers on Instagram. So yeah, we've paid people and we've provided free pieces for promo. But we kind of stick with the free partnerships now just for a clothing exchange. Yeah. So that's definitely something that can be tricky with Instagram. So, what about partnerships with other boutiques, like an accessory boutique? We've partnered with another DC-based boutique that she sells jewelry, and her pieces are connected to how you feel and energy. And we thought that was super cool. She knew a photographer in the DC area that we wanted to work with. So we collabed together, and we did a partnered photo shoot. She styled our pieces with her accessories. And I think it was a great experience, just working with another Black woman who, wanted to promote her items and work with another Black company. It worked out very well. I think that shoot did well on Instagram. We kind of had the same vision. And we definitely still stay in contact with her. And her accessories are doing extremely well. I think Drea, she's an Instagram person. I don't know if everyone knows her, but she has been wearing her jewelry recently. So she's doing very well. Next question. What will you do next to crush your craft? So what's next? I think a big part of why we started Branded by CB was not only to diversify the industry, but to empower women and help them, want to feel confident and sexy and just empowered overall in what they wear. So I think the next step is to definitely finalize our course and help empower women in entrepreneurship in this fashion business based off of what we know. I think we've made a lot of mistakes, within our journey, but we want to help others when they're just starting to not make those same mistakes, not waste all the money that we wasted, and help them to jumpstart their boutiques or, their e-commerce businesses. I also help, develop websites and all that as well. So any way I can help the next woman is definitely something that we're working towards. And once again, getting back to designing and creating our own clothing so that, when someone else wants something that we have, we don't have to say sold out because the vendor is sold out, but we can go and cut and, create our own designs for the Black woman and her curves. That's definitely something that we're looking to do next. So thank you for all of the questions. Any other questions? All right. So if there aren't any other questions, and if you go to the next slide, I want to just thank you everyone for attending and, listening. I am not a public speaker. So anytime we have something like this, Chanel's usually the one leading the conversation. So I really appreciate you sticking in there and, listening to our journey. I hope there was just something that you could take from this to influence you to just get out there and get started. Braided by CB is, coming out with this course. You can sign up for that on our website. That's listed here on the slide, www.brandedbycb.com, or email us at info@brandedbycb.com. We're always available, and we're also doing consultations for people who want to, do something similar to this. And yes, we're in the expo area. If you want to shop with us, it'll take you to our website. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And there is a discount. Thank you, Brittany. Welcome 10. If you put that into the checkout page, once you're done shopping, you would be able to get 10% off your order today. So thank you so much. And you can head back to the main event now. Thank you, ladies.